It's that time again. Time for a What Happened on My Universe Mode Pay-Per-View Special! It's Payback, and we were in Washington, D.C. We opened with the Divas title match, and it was a tables match as the defending champion AJ Lee took on Brie Bella again. At the beginning, it was AJ Lee that had the advantage, double Hurricane Ranas and whatnot. Brie quickly got back into it with that clothesline, and then started hitting other moves like DDTs and Russian leg sweeps. Soon enough, she was outside doing a Devon and getting the tables. As the match continued, weapons became all the rage, AJ getting a chair after all those table shots, and beating Brie's head in with it. Brie was able to shake off the effects of those chair shots, slam AJ down, and then drop kick her through a table to become the brand new Divas champion. So one match down and one title change. Now it's Dolph Ziggler's turn to try and win back the Intercontinental title that he lost to Cesaro at Extreme Rules last month. The early going was pretty even, Cesaro hitting a couple of big moves into start, but Dolph Ziggler quickly got back into it as well. As the match looked like it was heading towards the midway part, Cesaro started to take the lead and hit a few more moves, including that Michinoku driver, which got a 1 count. It wouldn't last though, of course, and Dolph Ziggler was able to hit a couple of moves and get himself back into it, and it was back to being the big even contest. A turning point came when Cesaro was able to hit the springboard European uppercut and then put on the giant swing. Both men were beginning to tire, and Cesaro was showing his toughness by being the man in charge. But Dolph Ziggler was able to show his resiliency and come back into it once again, almost getting the win with that DDT. But it may have been too late. While he was able to hit his elbow drops, he wasn't able to get the victory, and Cesaro would hit a neutralizer to retain the Intercontinental Championship.
Here is your winner, and still
the action moved back to the Raw roster as Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton faced off one last time. Daniel Bryan, for some reason, was accompanied by R-Truth, which is a bit weird because he's been just back and forth with whoever over the last few weeks. The good news was, he was doing his job here, making sure Randy Orton wasn't able to run away, like at the start of this feud, where he'd run away, and get counted out, or get disqualified, and not let Daniel Bryan have his match. Well, Daniel Bryan had a lot of this match, and was able to take out all his frustrations. The Flying Goat didn't have it all his way though. Randy Orton did manage to get a few moves in occasionally. But as soon as he did, a knee to the stomach and boom, the actual Flying Goat move came up. As they got back in the ring, Randy Orton quickly draped on his second rope DDT. It wasn't enough. Daniel Bryan just got a kick in, and 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 then another kick in, before hitting the running knee and being victorious. R-Truth came in the ring to celebrate with him post-match. I guess he's pro Daniel Bryan again now. There was another tables match next, as Mark Henry defended the World Heavyweight title against Alberto Del Rio. And it began quite evenly actually. The match had barely begun when it went outside already, and Alberto Del Rio had almost won it within a few seconds with that drop toe hold. But not yet. Although the match wasn't exactly that much longer. The two men continued to brawl outside, with and without weaponry. Alberto Del Rio would miss an enziguri while going over the table. This led to him being DDT'd onto the table, but not through it. As they headed back to the ring, Mark Henry's table would glitch out. Alberto Del Rio's would not though, and a springboard splash would win him the world title. He's also magic, as he made the title float to his hands. Unfortunately next, John Cena was out to seek attention from the pay-per-view audience, taking on Curtis Axel, of all people, on pay-per-view. Surprisingly, Curtis Axel actually led the way for the first bit. John Cena didn't really get to hit a move until like 5 minutes into it. But then he did, and it went all Super Cena. Until Curtis Axel reversed it and hit a neck breaker. Well, hey! It didn't take John Cena long to get back into the Super Cena groove. And boy did he smash Curtis Axel up out of it. But Curtis Axel managed to reverse it again and hit one of his finishers. And then when John Cena tried to Super Cena again, Curtis Axel reversed it into a small package. He only got a 2 count and then had to kick out himself. But still, a German later, which John Cena's probably used to by now, and Curtis Axel was hitting the perfect plex. For a 2 count, of course. It's John Cena, it's Super Cena. Cena would throw him out the ring and get his breath back, and when he got back in the ring, there was an FU waiting for him. But he didn't even get to 2! And then it's... wait... what? Axel wins! Axel wins! Axel wins! And back to feud matters now, as the tag team titles were on the line, as Luke Harper and Erick Rowan were defending against the Brotherhood team of Cody Rhodes and Goldust. And folks, this is my match of the night. It's longer than all the other matches, better than all the other matches, and it was fucking harder than all the other matches. One thing was for sure in this match, you didn't have a clue who was going to win. 1 minute one team would have the advantage, the next minute it'd quickly switch over and the upper hand was with the others. We were halfway through the match and that Luke Harper clothesline was a bit of a turning point. It started the longest bit of sustained pressure from one team for the match, and it didn't last long, as you can imagine, when Cody got this suplex. Cody Rhodes would trade reversals of both Luke Harper and Erick Rowan, but Rowan would get enough advantage to get a pinfall. Attempt at least. He was unsuccessful, but if he did win we wouldn't have got this cool squash spot. Next up, Cody Rhodes was in big move mode, and he hit several of the damn things, culminating in the Brotherhood hitting their awesome double team move and getting a near fall. Harper and Rowan would hit their own double team move. Goldust would reverse out of the next move he did and tag back into Cody. Cody, however, was belly to bellied straight away, and it would lead into what I call the ending sequence of a marathon match. It was a boot, a clothesline, and then another boot. And Luke Harper and Erick Rowan had successfully defended their tag team championships. It was now time for the main event, and the WWE champion Brock Lesnar would defend his title against Kane, who was accompanied by AJ Lee. Once the introduction was out of the way, it was time for the big move brawl between two behemoths, and no man would get any sustained advantage. It was big move from one guy, then big move from another, a couple of big moves from one, another couple of big moves from the other. The match headed outside and Brock would drop Kane before throwing him into the steel steps. He'd take this opportunity to try and bully AJ, but Kane was having none of it, and back suplexed him on the outside. When the two were back in the ring, it became the wild, open brawl that it was to begin with. No man getting any main upper hand. The match wore on, and it started to look as if Brock Lesnar was going to take the victory. However, Kane had other ideas, and would get the advantage back with his clothesline, and then started systematically working Brock down. Brock managed to escape to the outside. He'd then hit an STO and ram Kane into the commentary table a couple of times. Once back in the ring, it was an F5, and it was a victory for Brock Lesnar, successfully retaining his WWE Championship. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Don't forget to tune in next time for What Happened on My Universe Mode!